Oh, did I mention we're going to talk about a new form of government in this episode? Did I broadcast that at the start? I forget if I mentioned it. But I did mention we were going to have some interesting new ideas. So I'm going to tell you another idea of mine. So if someone wants to go get the patent on that, I showed you what a patent looks like, what and it's very involved process, but I'm okay with someone just taking this idea out there, and it probably kind of already exists out there. And frankly, this is a software idea, and software is much harder to patent than hardware. Okay, they're usually the physical components. It's a whole messy world of intellectual property and how money and IP work. I when my company gets investment, I'm expecting it owes me for 10 years of full time work. So, but it doesn't owe me any for this idea, and someone else could take this idea and just give me a cut, give me a royalty, maybe a whatever, just for the idea if you think. But the idea is a new form of government, and uh, this is going to be um, a bit of an idiotic premise, but and it's also I think kind of smarter than what we have. Just to give you an idea. So here's my proposal for Internetocracy, and it's going to replace democracy. And here are the rules to it. I wrote these down. I'm reading them from a piece of paper here. Okay. So this is the rules to Internetocracy. Whoever has the wiki on it owns it. I will not check to see if it exists. So if Internetocracy already exists out there, uh, sorry, I'm not. I don't mean to infringe. I just didn't know it exists. I didn't even look it up. Um, but this is just a show, and I just say a lot of random things in the show as my defense. Um, the other rule to Internetocracy is once implemented, it must use itself forever until it uses itself to stop using it. So you must use Internetocracy once implemented. And I think like the intent of this is to replace the current democratic process. Like it's not, um, you some of the details of it is I think you should be IP address should be registered to where you live. This way, that person lives there and they're a valid voter, and therefore, it actually makes more sense to vote from home than it takes to go to a building because anyone like you could get a bunch of immigrants, drive them over to the voting office, give them some identification, and pretend they live in the country, and they could vote that way. But in Internetocracy, your IP address is matched to your home and the records of where you lived at what time. So it would require you to use, like, when you vote using Internetocracy, um, it would require you to go on a camera. So you go to the government voting website, and you got to visually stand there. It'll say, raise your hand, just to prove you're not a bot, or that you're interacting with the voting system to prove you exist. And then it will use your IP address to certify you're a citizen of that very specific jurisdiction. You can't spoof this, right? And then you vote, and you can, because it's done online. You can get some help. Like, what are the policies? The eligible candidates. There has to be rules to it because it can't be infinite people running. Okay, I think ideally you have at least a three-party system. Go with the Democrats, Republican, and the ACP or something like that. I think some of the I don't know what the three major parties should be, and maybe they have links for what they stand for, and maybe you can earn extra voting power through proofs of knowledge. Like if in the Internetocracy, this might be the more controversial part about Internetocracy, but I don't believe that everyone's vote should be identical. I think that if you know more about how something works, you should have more say in it than someone who doesn't. Um, so Internetocracy, but that's up for debate. Okay, about the voting power of the individual. Maybe age too. Older people have a little bit more say. There could be some reasons to adjust the voting power. I don't believe that any idiot should just be able to come in and vote and, like, it's just ridiculous, the concept, if you think about it. Like, why would you choose why would you let people who know nothing of a topic decide on how something works? It'd be like if I show up in a kitchen, don't know anything about cooking, and I'm the chef, like, or I get to make some, uh, rules on how the kitchen prepares food in the menu. There's this expectation of expertise at this level of things, and that's one of the intents of internetocracy. But the final general rule of it is it is a scoring system, and it's essentially designed to pick the least despicable leader of your nation or any other thing. But that's the intent of it, because obviously all your choices are going to be terrible anyways, and but it will help minimize the mistakes, and that's what I think. That's how I think internetocracy should work. If someone wants to do it, this gives them an idea. Give me some credit, okay? If you saw this and it motivated you to develop a voting system that works this way, and again, it's a scoring system. When it's not just pure votes. It There's criteria. That's the details of it. Okay, maybe each year it gets evaluated what the scoring system is, but obviously even the most basic version of this is going to be better than the current system now, and you'll never see this kind of innovation. Like, the reason why it doesn't exist, like, this could have been made 20 years ago. This isn't. I'm sure someone would have thought of this 20 years ago. But the reason we have democracy is so that nothing changes, so that the rich remain rich and the poor remain poor. And getting this developed is going to be quite tricky.